What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Last of Us 3 talk that was going on today. Very, very early in the morning, IGN reported. I mean, they technically didn't get the scoop. They got it from Neil Druckmann doing a podcast, but there was talk on The Last of Us 3 that the plot, I guess, and now they say the plot is already done. Technically, Neil Druckmann said that there is an outline. He said, I don't know how much I want to reveal, but him and co-writer Haley Gross and I did write an outline for the story that we're not making, but I hope one day it can see the light of day that explores a little bit of what happens after this game. We'll see. So, throughout what he talks about, and he goes on a little bit after that, he basically talks about how big of a commitment The Last of Us 3 is to making. Now, to be quite honest with you guys, flat out, I'm very conflicted when it comes to these kind of things because he said around the same kind of stuff going from 1 to 2. And I feel like I think in the gaming industry, we do kind of repeat these certain themes, right? And themes being we're being told the truth, but we're also, I think, being openly lied to. Okay, I think there's a lot going on at Naughty Dog. It's not probably the best there in terms of what they're spending so much time making, and it's a little confusing because we don't necessarily know if the Uncharted thing is still happening because we have all of these projects that were kind of started, some with some teams' help, and then they kind of back out or they were closed altogether or whatever happened, and Naughty Dog seems to have absorbed it. So obviously the multiplayer was always theirs, but then you have The Last of Us remake, which was being made by that visual effects group, which really the small group that was making it is gone. So Naughty Dog kind of absorbed that project. So the question is, when Days Gone was helping, or I guess Sony Bend, when they were helping make the Uncharted game, or they were making an Uncharted game from scratch, and they were doing The Last of Us multiplayer, when they dropped out, does Naughty Dog absorb the Uncharted game, or does the Uncharted game just get put on the back burner and said, okay, we're not going to mess with that right now? So we'll have to see how that happens, but the bigger point is they're busy, they're doing a lot of different stuff, and how I take what Neil is saying is simply they have it. They're 100% going to do it. I mean, again, that's kind of that annoying talk that a lot of people do, and I've called it out before too. A lot of people do it, and it's just kind of all right, quit your BS, and you just admitted. Here's what I would say: you don't write a story, you don't write an outline, even an outline for the third game of the franchise if it's not happening. Okay, I mean, why would you waste your time? You have nothing better to do. You're wasting your time doing something. Maybe you're doing it for fun, but in reality, you're wasting your time doing something if it's not going to happen. It's the same thing I would even say for, remember, before we knew if they were actually doing The Last of Us 2, because there was a lot of uncertainty back then if they were going to do something else. And in fact, remember, they looked at a Jak and Daxter game, and they ended up putting it down, and they made The Last of Us 2. But remember, there was that early concept art of Ellie playing the guitar on the rock, and it was her a little bit older, which was from the game, and it was from the lead. I don't even the lead artist of Naughty Dog, and he said he did it for fun, in his free time, and it's you are such a liar. That's not what happened at all, and it turned out to be that was the case. And I remember I called it out back then. A lot of people called it out, and we were all proven right in that regard. So I do believe Neil, because later on in this interview or in this podcast, he does say that they throw together whatever ideas they're thinking, and they put them all on the table, and they look at it, and they say, okay, which one are we going to actually tackle? I do think that's real. Again, I think the bigger point is The Last of Us 3 will happen. It's just going to happen, I would argue, very late in the game, like later in life, which I will say, I've said it before, I have problems with The Last of Us 2. Okay, I love a lot of it. I don't in fact, you could even say hate a couple of the major story decisions. And again, The Last of Us is a very hot topic, or Last of Us Part 2 is a very hot topic. You have people that love the game to death, that won't accept any criticisms. You have people that only call out criticisms without focusing on any positives. So you have two different sides, and that's just two of many different groups. But I think something that maybe everybody could agree with is if they are going to make The Last of Us 3, just make it, and in a way, get it over with. And I say that I guess I say that more from a negative perspective, right? Because if you hate the games and it's oh, they're making 3, well, then just do it to get it over with. And I would argue, so that's a more negative way of thinking about it. But then if you're on the positive side, it'd be oh, okay, I want the game as soon as possible. Again, it's not a you need to rush, you need to get this game out in like a year and a half. No, it's obviously take your time. But they probably, I would say, people that want The Last of Us 3, which by the way, I do want The Last of Us 3, they would probably say, okay, I want the game, sooner rather than you making 5 games first and then The Last of Us. And you also have to think about like their ages. Like Ashley Johnson is 37, and I guess ages and everything, especially when it's a video game. But like if you wait another like 8 years, right? And she's Ellie, so she's supposed to be like in her or maybe late 20s, but she's really like in her mid 40s, right? It's like, okay, maybe make that your next game. But again, that goes to where I take the side of like, I don't think Naughty Dog is, and I guess who am I to say, right? I'm just one person online, but I think they're doing either too much all at once, while at the same time they say they only work on one thing at a time, which I also think is a lie, because if they're only working on the multiplayer, that's not effective. That's not really using your resources well. So I don't believe that. And then if they are making like 1,000 things at once and The Last of Us Remake is one of them, then you're also not using your resources well, because that's a stupid idea to do something like that. Make a brand new game. And I guess that's my opinion. If you don't agree, that's totally cool. But that's what I kind of take out of this. It's a lot of fluff. It's a lot of what we've already heard Neil say literally like after The Last of Us came out. Okay, so we've already kind of heard this kind of stuff before. And I do think it's happening. I just think it's kind of a matter of time. It just comes down to, I do believe him that it takes enormous amounts of money, enormous amounts of time, all that stuff. And so, like, if that's their next big game, they, like, it. I guess if it's going to come out next, then it needs to obviously be their next big game. And they need to be working on it, like, right now. Because if they're working on another game, before it, like a big game, not the multiplayer, not even The Last of Us Remake, because I don't think that would take up their entire team, then we're probably going to be waiting like 7-8 years again for The Last of Us 3, which I, again, don't think is a proper use of what you have. You have the TV show happening, and yeah, I guess you're trying to align the game with that, but like, the TV show comes out, the game comes out, and then we still have to wait 6-7 more years for the third game. I just don't think that's a good. Again, I would say that's not a good strategy. Yet again, I fully recognize I'm not in their positions. I'm not. I don't see what they see, right? So I could be very wrong or very just off base. But I definitely want to hear from you guys in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think The Last of Us 3 is their next game? How long do you think it will take to get the game? All those things, let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. I do a brand new video on this channel every single day, and so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.